on Steelers Talk, and we have some breaking news here on a Tuesday afternoon. Thank you to everybody that is tuning in with us here on this kind of impromptu special edition of Steelers Talk. The breaking news of the day. San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk, the person that we have talked about probably more than any other individual player on this channel this offseason, has officially requested a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. It was reported by Mike Garafolo earlier today, just a couple of hours ago, saying, source, the 49ers All-Pro wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk has officially requested a trade after an offseason of unsuccessful attempts to reach an extension. Despite a recent meeting, the Niners haven't been willing to engage in negotiations since May, so Aiyuk has respectfully asked out. So listen, Coop, this is obviously a monumental story. This is something that I thought wasn't going to happen. I thought that Aiyuk would probably just play on the final year of his contract, and he would just be a free agent next year, or the 49ers would franchise tag him and they would readdress it next season. But it looks like Aiyuk is pretty darn dead set here. It's either pay me my money now
or trade me
trade me away. And the more I think about it and the more that this stuff continues on, Coop, the more I think that Brandon Aiyuk will not play in 2024 unless he is under a brand new contract. He is reportedly looking for $30 million per season on his next deal.
Yep.
And if any team is going to trade for him, and that includes the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're going to have to pay him that much.
Yeah, they're going to have to, including giving up a couple of draft picks, maybe a receiver going back the other way. They're going to have to pay him $30 million a year and whatever that fully guaranteed money looks like as well. It would be a difficult deal to get done, but if there's one person I think could get it done, it's our boy Omar Khan.
We know the con artist, man. Everything that I have heard is that Omar Khan and the Steelers have tried very, very hard to get Brandon Aiyuk this offseason. But the 49ers, apparently there was a report that came out a couple weeks ago that the 49ers and the Steelers actually had a deal close to done by the time the draft came around for presumably Aiyuk, and it fell through. So obviously it didn't happen. But now that Brandon Aiyuk has officially requested a trade, could those conversations begin to open up? Adam Schefter from ESPN did report that the 49ers are not trading him, Coop.
He did say that.
And apparently the teams that are calling the 49ers right now, the San Francisco is saying, we're not trading him. But here's the thing. I think the 49ers are leaking that to Schefter to try and get some more leverage with these trade negotiations, because they did draft Ricky Pearsall, who is more of a Brandon Aiyuk type. Deebo Samuel is kind of that really unique piece in their offense, right?
Yep.
He is that versatile chess piece that is very important to all the creative stuff that Kyle Shanahan, their head coach, likes to do. So it's very possible at this point, from where I stand here today, Coop, that Deebo Samuel is the guy that they're paying more money to right now. That's who they're going to continue to keep paying. And then Brandon Aiyuk's going to be the guy, the odd man out, that ends up leaving next year. Whether it's Ricky Pearsall taking over this year or next year, I don't think Aiyuk's going to be a Niner for much longer.
The Niners can't pay everybody, and they're trying their best to. They're still going to have to pay Brock Purdy coming up. They already paid Nick Bosa. They already paid Deebo Samuel. They already paid Fred Warner.
George Kittle.
They already paid George Kittle. How many more big contracts can you hand out? I know Aiyuk wants this deal. It just may not come from the Niners, and I think at this point in time, if I had to guess right now, I think he's going to get traded.
And it sounds like what really changed the tide in this Brandon Aiyuk saga this offseason was the Amon-Ra St. Brown contract, where he got $30 million a year.
And Aiyuk says, I'm better than him.
Aiyuk said, I think he said it on the Pivot podcast, like they were really close to a deal that would have been close to around $26 million per season. And then when Amon-Ra got 30, he's like, I want 32.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of changed the dynamic between Brandon Aiyuk and the 49ers this offseason. And right now, I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been Jeremy Fowler, who said he had a source, like Brandon Aiyuk wants to either get traded or get paid, and the 49ers have no interest in doing either of those things.
Exactly.
So it's like, well, I mean, it looks like San Francisco, your choices are trade him, pay him or risk having him sit out the entirety of the 2024 season. Now, would he do that? I don't know, Coop.
I tend to doubt it, but you don't want to find out.
Yeah, I mean, do the Niners really want to find out the answer to that question? I know the Steelers kind of effed around and found out with Le'Veon Bell.
Yes,
we all know how that situation worked out for both parties. It wasn't very good. Got our first super chat of the day coming in from the biggest Brandon Aiyuk.
Himself.
I mean, this is the guy that has been pushing the Brandon Aiyuk stuff to the Steelers for the longest time. He's in my Twitter replies like every day talking about how the Steelers are going to land this guy. Omar's Burner, one of our Black Diamonds with a $10 super chat, says, good afternoon to all. My Brandon Aiyuk agenda is becoming more and more clear as predicted for months. Just need Khan to secure the bidding war victory. Here we go, Yins. And for my boy, Omar's Burner here. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. All right, man. So we're going to get into this breaking news cut here. We're going to kind of do more of our normal build-up stuff after the cut here because we just want to make sure we get this breaking news video out on our channel, guys. So I really do appreciate you. Make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already, all right? The more people that click, my goal on this show, it might sound crazy, all right? I want this show to get so big that Brandon Aiyuk himself comes into the chat and watches this thing with us. We want to send a message to Brandon Aiyuk that we want him in Pittsburgh. So type me in the chat if you have liked the stream. We got over 200 people around the world watching right now, only 44 likes. So if you're new here at the channel, the real ones know that clicking that thumbs up icon is the easiest way to help us out. I see Limesy in the chat, Christopher Roy, Pittsburgh fan 412, Damian, Allison, Brock, Lincoln, Cassie is here. Everybody say what's up to Cassie, my girlfriend, in the chat. We got Cam here. We got Christian Andujar. We got K9 Ty. We got TD. We got Tom. We got Cert. We got Todd. We got your boy Chumi. Come on now. We got Omar's Burner. We got a good group of Yinzers in the chat right now. We're going to have some fun today talking some Brandon Aiyuk rumors and news today. I'm going to let you know in a second what I would offer to the San Francisco 49ers in exchange for Aiyuk. So, Coop, are we ready to get things going here on the show? Baby. Again, we're trying, by the way, this show does count. We have had 15 straight live streams with at least $1,000 in Super Chat and Venmo revenue. Thanks to Omar's Burner for getting us started with that first $10 Super Chat. So hopefully we can make this 16 straight live streams with at least $1,000 in Super Chat and Venmo revenue. And just so you guys know, our Browns channel, they're live in the studio across from us right now, already at $500. We cannot lose to the Browns report on today's show. So get those Super Chats going, get those Venmos going. You can find me at Jack-Sperry. So if you want to send in those Venmos while we get this first segment done, I am at Jack-Sperry. So without further ado, let's get into our first segment on today's Steelers Talk live show, the latest surrounding Brandon Aiyuk. We have some major breaking news here on a Tuesday on Steelers Talk as 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk, the second-team All-Pro wide receiver from last year, has requested a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. I'll break down everything that you guys need to know about Aiyuk, his numbers from last year, whether or not the Steelers could be interested in landing him, and then by the end of the show today, I'm going to let you guys know what I would offer the 49ers in exchange for Aiyuk's services. But before we get into it today, make sure you click that subscribe button because if something happens, if the con artist is able to pull off this trade and Brandon Aiyuk is becoming a Pittsburgh Steeler, we are going live immediately here on Steelers Talk, and we are going to have the biggest live show in the history of our company here at Chat Sports. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now because if a trade happens, we're going to be partying it up, and you don't want to miss it. Okay, now we get to the report here from Mike Garafolo, who had it first. He says, source, 49ers All-Pro wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk has officially requested a trade after an offseason of unsuccessful attempts to reach an extension. Despite a recent meeting, the Niners haven't been willing to engage in negotiations negotiations since May, so Aiyuk has respectfully asked out. Another report from Albert Breer says the Niners were in this position 2 years ago with Deebo Samuel, talking about requesting a trade, and went all the way up to the doorstep of the season last year with Nick Bosa. Clearly, they've shown a desire to keep Brandon Aiyuk, but the Justin Jefferson deal did shift the market conditions. And then kind of a little bit of a counter report here from Adam Schefter says sources, other teams that have reached out and have spoken to San Francisco have been told that the 49ers have no intention of trading disgruntled wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk, who officially has requested a trade. 49ers open training camp next week. So listen, man, we have talked about Brandon Aiyuk on this channel more than any other player in terms of somebody that's not on the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason. We must have had at least 25 videos breaking down Brandon Aiyuk, or at least Aiyuk being a part of that video. And the reasons are clear. Brandon Aiyuk is a second-team All-Pro wide receiver. He kind of fits what the Pittsburgh Steelers need in their wide receiver room right now, which is a true route-running technician. And guys, he's only 26 years old. This is one of the best receivers in football. He is the same exact height and weight as Van Jefferson, 6 foot, 200 pounds. So he's got good size. He's a really good run blocker. He's played in that San Francisco offense that preaches run blocking from their wide receivers, and the Steelers have reportedly shown a lot of interest in Aiyuk, have called the 49ers a number of times trying to land Aiyuk, but the 49ers have not been willing to come to the table. You see his numbers from last year, his all-pro season, 17.9, almost 18 yards per catch. That is astronomical in NFL standards. 7 touchdowns, 75 total catches. I mean, this guy's an absolute freak, man. And you look at the last 2 seasons, I mean, really great production in both of those years. Now, the average yards per catch actually took a step up in 2023. He had 1 less touchdown, had slightly more yards, couple less catches. But the last 2 years, man, Brandon Aiyuk has been a bona fide all-pro caliber wide receiver, and he's only 26 years old. He's a perfect fit for Arthur Smith's offensive scheme. I don't think that the Steelers could dream up a better trade target than Brandon Aiyuk to add to this offense. But let me know down there in the comments section. Should the Steelers trade for Aiyuk? You have to remember you're going to have to pay him $30 million per season if you trade for him. So type T for trade or type P for pass for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. So here's the way that the Steelers wide receiver depth chart currently is constructed. Now, there's a bunch of guys heading into training camp that are going to be competing for positioning. George Pickens is your bona fide number 1 receiver, but Roman Wilson, the rookie out of Michigan, Calvin Austin III, Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins, Scotty Miller, all these guys that they brought in this offseason, they're going to be battling it out for kind of wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 work in Latrobe this year. But if you add Brandon Aiyuk into this mix here and you look at what the Steelers weaponry would look like, man, Jaylen Warren, I've said I think he's going to be the most important offensive player for the Steelers offense this year. I think he's one of the best running backs in football. But then you get an awesome wide receiving duo in Brandon Aiyuk and George Pickens, Najee Harris as your other running back that will still play a very key role in this offense. And then Pat Freiermuth has reportedly looked like an incredible offensive talent in OTAs. I think he's going to play a huge part in this Arthur Smith scheme with Russell Wilson coming in as the new quarterback. So here's the kind of what I want to talk about, man. What could an Aiyuk trade look like? As Steelers fans, you're probably wondering, hey, man, what's it going to cost to bring this guy in? Well, first of all, it's going to cost you $30 million per year, probably on the next 4 years. So $120 million total over the next 4 years on his next contract. Plus, you're going to have to make a trade with San Francisco, a team that definitely does not want to, unload him. Plus, you're going to have to beat some other teams out there that are currently trying to acquire Aiyuk, because the Steelers aren't the only team in need of a receiver. So here's what I would offer. This is probably what my starting offer would be if I am Steelers GM Omar Khan. I would offer a 2nd-round pick next season, okay, and then I would be offering Calvin Austin III, because if you're adding Brandon Aiyuk, guys, I think we all know Calvin Austin III's role in this offense is probably going to be a little bit limited in terms of what Calvin brings as a punt returner. I think Cordero Patterson could probably fill in, and there's other players on this team that can fill in that role as well. But listen, man, when it comes to Aiyuk, I think that this is a fair deal. It gives the Niners a wide receiver that they can add to kind of switch out for Brandon Aiyuk, somebody that does have special teams upside there in Calvin Austin III. Plus, they get a pretty darn good draft pick in a second-round pick. All right, so I think this is a fair offer. You have to remember that you have to pay Aiyuk $30 million per season, so that's definitely something the Steelers will have to weigh on here, and you're probably going to have to pay him a 4-year extension. So you'd be locking him up to be a Steeler for the next 5 seasons if you end up making this deal. So listen, man, my take on this and whether or not the Steelers should pull the trigger on this is that I think that if the Steelers are truly going all in, and everything that we have heard from Omar Khan and everybody covering this team is that they're going all in. They're trying to win with the talent that they have right now. Brandon Aiyuk clearly gives this team the best possible shot to win a Super Bowl in the short term with Russell Wilson as their quarterback. You have George Pickens, who would be an awesome, running mate with Brandon Aiyuk. You have an excellent defense. You're going to have a good run game. Hopefully the offensive line improves quite a bit this season. But Brandon Aiyuk, right now he is the guy that could fix all of the wide receiver 2 problems that we have been talking about for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And is he expensive? Yes. All right. But in my opinion, based on everything that I've seen from his film, he is worth that $30 million per year. And let's remember, the Steelers are currently spending the least amount of money on offense in the entire National Football League. They're currently paying the most on defense. It's time to start, balancing out that scale a little bit because this is an offensive league, and Brandon Aiyuk, I think, is worth that $30 million contract. The production he's had over the last 2 seasons certainly proves that, and I think that Aiyuk would make the Steelers even more dangerous. I think even as constructed right now, the Steelers will have a good football team capable of competing, maybe even win a playoff game. But if you add Aiyuk and you add this legit number 2 wide receiver to your team who's been an all-pro in this league, I think that that's going to catapult the Pittsburgh Steelers into being legit Super Bowl contenders heading into this season. Now, other destinations that Aiyuk could end up in, the Washington Commanders have been heavily linked to Aiyuk. There was a report a couple weeks ago that the Commanders and 49ers were actually working on a deal for Aiyuk that fell through. Of course, Jaden Daniels is Brandon Aiyuk's college quarterback back at ASU. They're really good friends. They work out in the offseason. So that one is certainly going to be a top contender, the Commanders. And then the New England Patriots, who could certainly use a wide receiver. According to Jacina Anderson from CBS Sports, I believe, she says that the Patriots have been in contact with the 49ers about a potential Aiyuk trade. But another thing to keep in mind as well, when you're talking about this whole saga, and when we're talking about the 49ers, you have to realize that these guys get deals done extremely late. Okay, and you have to remember, too, Deebo Samuel requested a trade, eventually got that deal done July 31st, all right? So we might be coming up on a potential extension here for Aiyuk. He could be trying to jockey for leverage here to try and get the 49ers to pony up the money that he wants. So I guess we'll see in the coming days. But you have to remember here, the 49ers are comfortable in this type of situation. They've been here before, and they get these deals done late. So it wouldn't completely shock me if a deal still gets done by Brandon Aiyuk and the 49ers on a long-term contract. And that'll be it for today's show, guys. I'll probably have more thoughts on this trade request if nothing happens by tomorrow. I'll probably be going over it on Steelers Talk Live starting at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow on Wednesday. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now. And until then, here we go, Steelers. All right, guys, so we got through our first segment today. So we got a Venmo alert, Mr. Coop. I'll send that to you right away. Shout out to Adam here for a $2 super chat. Says, does it make sense for Aiyuk without a QB yet? Well, we have a quarterback, right?
I think so.
Here's the thing. If you're going in for Aiyuk, then you believe in Russell Wilson. That's the thing, all right? So I have a feeling Adam probably doesn't believe in Russell Wilson if he's framing the question in that way, and that's fine, Adam. If you don't think Russell Wilson's very good, you don't think he's going to be the guy, it's very possible that he's not. But if they make this deal for Aiyuk, they are 100% sure, or at least maybe not 100, but really close to 100% sure that they think Russell Wilson is still capable of winning a championship, because that's the type of move you make when you try to win right now. So if they make that deal, that tells you that this team has supreme confidence in Russell Wilson. He's had a really good offseason to this point. I think as Steelers fans, we know a good offseason doesn't mean anything. Just look at what the offseason Kenny Pickett had last year. But, if they go out and get Brandon Aiyuk, they're telling you they believe in Russell Wilson. They think that he can deliver a title here in Pittsburgh. I'll send you this A Venmo alert here.
Please do. Let us know down in the comments, should the Steelers trade for Brandon Aiyuk? Type T for trade, type P for pass.
Kevin says $30 million way too much. I mean, here's the thing, man. Like, with that $30 million's the market for a receiver like Brandon Aiyuk at this point, man. Like, if you're not going to be paying Brandon that, you're going to be paying George, at least that, if not more. So you know what? The way I'm thinking about it, guys, is that the Steelers are trying to win right now.
Yep.
The one thing that can definitely turn them from like playoff contenders to Super Bowl contenders, like bona fide right away, is getting this guy. All right. So if the Steelers are serious about winning now and winning a seventh Lombardi trophy now or within the next few years, this is a trade that you make, and this is a trade and then sign Brandon Aiyuk for 30. All right. Is it a guarantee that you're going to get a Super Bowl? No. But does it increase your chances?
Yeah.
Yes, it really much does, okay? And, who knows? Maybe they don't make this trade and Van Jefferson, bounces back and has a great year. Maybe Calvin Austin III breaks out this year. Maybe Rowan Wilson is phenomenal. Like, there's still ways that the Steelers can potentially be a Super Bowl contender without trading for Aiyuk. But if you want to guarantee it, well, maybe not guarantee it, but, really increase your chances of that happening, I mean, Brandon Aiyuk's an all-pro. In my opinion, he's a top 5 route runner in all football. He's big. He's bigger than people think. People think Brandon Aiyuk's a small receiver. He's 200 pounds. All right, that's the same size as Van Jefferson. Okay, so you're essentially, I mean, if I could trade Van Jefferson for Aiyuk, I would do that. I don't think you can trade him, though, because he just signed him this offseason. But it's going to be a lot of fun, man. We'll see what happens here over the next few days or so. Okay, now we have a Venmo alert here, and this one's rolling in from Pittsburgh fan 412. Bang! Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Steelers, here we go. Here we go, Steelers, here we go. Pittsburgh fan 412, one of our Black Diamonds, coming in with a $100 Venmo, baby. And it's followed up by Omar's Burner here with a $5 super chat. Let's get him going.
I got you, Omar.
Christopher Roy says, "Hey, Jack, do you take cash?" I mean,
you're going to mail it?
You're going to mail it? I mean, I'd say just send it via Venmo, my friend. But $5 super chat here from Omar's Burner, my man, who says, "For those saying not a Steelers move, they don't get Patrick Queen, Russ Fields, this isn't your grandpa's Steelers team. It's a new era under Omar Khan." And I think Omar makes a good point here. All right? And we know, Coop, that the Omar Khan and the Steelers have attempted to trade for Brandon Aiyuk. We know they're interested. Okay, so for people to say it's not a Steelers move, that's just, I mean,
back in the day, maybe not.
Here's the thing. Omar Khan is not Kevin Colbert. All right, so if we're predicating what we think the Steelers will do based on what the history of what Kevin Colbert did, that's ridiculous. All right, just look at, I mean, people said the same thing about the Kenny Pickett thing this year. People are like, oh, the Steelers don't move off quarterbacks this quickly, all this different stuff. Guess what they did? They moved off of him, and they brought in a veteran quarterback in Russell Wilson and then traded for Justin Fields. That was the correct move. Omar Khan isn't living in the past, all right? He's living in the future. He is living in a time and place here where he's not afraid to get aggressive, especially this offseason. They got Patrick Queen. All right, they went out and got Russell Wilson, like Omar's Burner said. All right, so as Steelers fans, we can't be living in the past here thinking, oh, the Steelers haven't traded for receivers in the past, therefore they won't do it. All right, it's the same thing during the draft season. People said, oh, when I would say, like, for example, Talise Fuanga, the Oregon State offensive tackle, I said, Steelers might draft him, and it turns out they were interested in him. But people told me, oh, Jack, Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan didn't go to the pro day. That completely eliminates them. There was only 2 players on their board where both of them were in attendance for both of their pro days. So it's like, what are we doing here? I mean, obviously, Omar Khan is running things a different way than how Kevin Colbert ran this organization. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, all right? I think we all agree Omar Khan's done a really good job, and part of that is because he's willing to take risks. He's willing to make trades. He's doing things a lot differently than Kevin Colbert did, and it's been to the benefit of the Pittsburgh Steelers,
Certainly.
in my opinion. So I think that, if you're saying the Steelers won't make this move because of what they did back in the Kevin Colbert era, I just don't buy that argument at all. I think that they are interested in Brandon Aiyuk, and I think it's going to come down to if they can come to terms with the 49ers on a deal.
And that's kind of the whole thing, is it's not easy to come to terms to big trades like this. Like, there's a reason they don't happen very often, and I know Omar Khan's going to try, but it's not like you can just go to the Niners and say, hey, give us Aiyuk, and they'll be like, all right, cool, what do you want? And then if you agree, it doesn't mean it gets done. I mean, these are difficult deals to make.
And you have to remember here, like the running rate for an all-pro receiver in his prime, he's only 26, remember, like it's first-round pick. Like that's the running rate for an all-pro receiver in terms of a trade value. And that's what the Niners are going to want. They're going to want a first-round pick.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't think the Steelers are going to be willing to give that up. I don't, because of the quarterback situation, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at a situation right now where you have Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, and you're hoping one of those guys establishes themselves as the future quarterback of this team heading into 2025. But there is a reality, Coop, where neither of them play all that well this year, and the Steelers are once again looking for a quarterback next offseason, and you're going to want your first-round pick.
Correct.
If that's the case.
Now, if it was between giving up the first-round pick and not getting Aiyuk, would you give up the first?
Repeat the question.
If you had to give up the first-round pick for Aiyuk or you did not get him, are you giving up the first?
I don't think I am.
Damn.
I honestly, I would trade 2 seconds. I wouldn't trade a first.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. If they offered, hey, we can't do this without a first. 2 seconds, very close to the value of a first-round pick. That's probably what I would offer. I would offer 2 seconds in Calvin Austin if they said they wanted a first-round pick.
And if they said no, you're walking away?
Yeah, and if they said no to 2 seconds in Calvin, I'm walking away.
Fair enough.
Because, it's not like the Steelers wide receiver room is awful right now.
No,
There's still some nice potential there. Roman Wilson, I think we all think has a bright future. Van Jefferson is talented, but he's been unproductive the last couple of years because of injury. Calvin Austin III had a really good spring. I mean, I think that people are completely sleeping on Calvin Austin III. People forget, just how dynamic he is with the ball in his hands. Apparently, he's really worked on his route running this year.
If you've watched our Madden streams, you would be familiar.
Absolutely. And, he is small, sure, but, if he can develop into a nice little route runner, this guy can make some stuff happen. All right, I'm a believer in Calvin Austin III. So my highest price is 2 seconds and Calvin Austin. And that's it.
This was your original offer that we just showed earlier.
Yeah, this would be a good deal for the Steelers, in my opinion. Just 1 second rounder and Calvin for Brandon. I think that'd be a good deal. Now, is that realistic necessarily? I guess we'll have to see.
But this would be like your first offer.
That would be my first offer. A second and Calvin. And I think that's relatively fair. Especially because the Steelers are going to have to pony up $30 million per year to get Aiyuk on the team.
What, you think that'll be 4 years, $120 million?
Yeah. Aiyuk's next contract will probably be, if not exactly, really, really close to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Because, that's what we know. We know that the dynamic changed between Aiyuk and the Niners when Amon-Ra got his contract.
Yes.
That was the big tide shift in this entire saga. Okay? So, I believe that the Niners will eventually move off Aiyuk. I think there's a reason why they drafted a guy like Ricky Pearsall in the first as opposed to a guy like Malachi Corley that could replace Deebo Samuel. I think that they feel like Deebo is the more irreplaceable guy in their offense, even though he's older, he's dealt with more injuries than Aiyuk.
Do you think that's because of his versatility?
Yeah. He can play, he can line up in the backfield, in the slot, outside. You can use Deebo in so many different ways, and Shanahan likes that versatility in his playbook. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Aiyuk's going to be the odd man out here with them already paying Kittle, Bosa, Deebo. They're paying a bunch of people, and Brock Purdy is on the horizon here, and it sounds like they're going to give him a massive contract. can you afford to pay Brandon Aiyuk $30 million a year? I don't think they can.
Yeah. Look, they have Purdy on the best contract in the NFL right now, so that's going to change here pretty soon.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go through the build-up stuff here, Coop, real quick before we get into our next segment. So right now, we are currently sitting on 15 straight live streams with at least $1,000 in Super Chat and Venmo revenue. Right now, we're at $116. We haven't seen Platinum 666 or Kurgan Cold yet, which makes me a little nervous here. But we have gotten to this point 15 straight times.
You guys are unbelievable.
You guys are unbelievable for that. We're trying to keep the streak alive today, trying to make it 16 straight live shows with at least 1,000 in Super Chat and Venmo Rev. We are a tenth of the way there. So listen, man, the reason why we prefer Venmo instead of Super Chat is because YouTube takes 30% of every dollar that you donate via the Super Chats. So if you want more of your money that you donate to go towards us and making more Steelers content for you guys for free, send in a Venmo, all right? And you can find me at Jack-Sperry, or you can scan the QR code here to get things going. Pittsburgh Fan 412 already got the party started with a $100 Venmo. And here's the deal, guys. You guys know that for $500 Venmos and for Super Chats, we hit the gong.
Yes.
Right? And that's a lot of fun. Guess what? The Cleveland Browns report got a $500 Venmo today, so they stole our gong.
BS.
And they told us we can't take it back. Our bosses told us we can't take our gong back unless somebody sends in a $500 Venmo or Super Chat. So if we can hit that gong today and we can take it back from the frauds over at the Browns report, that'd be great. Here's our donation menu. Any Super Chat, any Venmo, you're going to get a shout out. We're going to give you guys some love. If you spend $20 on the show, I'll put your name on the Helmet Hall of Fame. It's starting to really fill up with names here. We're going to raffle that off here in a couple weeks. $100 total gets you in the Steelers Talk Gold Club for life. You get a Super Chat sticker every time you Super Chat or Venmo. And then $500 gets you in the Steelers Talk Black Diamond Club, where you get a customized jersey with your retired number, your name on the back, and also you get a customized Super Chat sticker. Plus you get a shout out on every single Steelers Talk live show. So here's our Black Diamonds, man. You can see those beautiful, unique Super Chat stickers that they have earned with their donations here. So big shout out to Samuel Pugh, F1 Video Watcher, Nathan Glass, Kurgan Cold, Platinum 666, Go Blue Buckeye, Elliptic 6, Gwendolyn, Marilyn Krieger, Pittsburgh Fan 412, Omar's Burner, Kyle King, KJ Live Life, Hot Rod 24, Patricia Gustafson, my mother, Fernando Martin, Cassie Voth, Pat Lepla, Paranormal Funhouse, Anthony Fuller, Vince John Alflaggy. I think I'm butchering that, Vince, but I appreciate you. Christopher Roy, we're gonna be actually revealing your Super Chat sticker tomorrow, Chris.
And Joe Sperry's.
And then and my brother Joe Sperry joined Black Diamonds last week, and you could be next here, folks. So here's our channel records. Largest individual donation was $1,666 from Platinum 666. Then the biggest show ever here on the channel was $8,000. So if we could just get up to 1,000. That's my goal today. It's just to just keep the streak alive. Let's get to 1,000. It'd be nice to hit the gong today and steal that gong back. Hopefully Kurgan or Platinum 666 can show up at some point here. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys for all the support you give to the channel.
I want to shout out Nothing in the chat. He said we need to sign Paul Skeens for quarterback.
Yeah, okay. Paul Skeens, man, starting at the All-Star game tonight.
He is. He's starting at the All-Star game tonight in Arlington, about 20 minutes away from us.
That's right. I went to the home run derby last night.
You saw a drunk national anthem.
The drunk national, yeah, the terrible national anthem. It was actually, I think that the home run derby's kind of taken a step down, if I'm being honest.
It has. Once they changed the format, it's kind of
gone
down
also,
the
they
shit.
don't have, the biggest names anymore. They don't have Stanton and Judge and all these guys. I guess they're older. Maybe they feel like they're too big for the home run derby now. But, the fact that these players feel like they're too big for it tells you that it's a reduced event now.
Exactly.
So that's definitely something Teoscar Hernandez won last night, and I feel like most of the people that just kind of casually watch baseball, you probably don't even know who that is.
You don't know him if you're a baseball casual.
And Bobby Witt Jr., who's not even a home run hitter, made the finals last night. It was kind of a joke. I think we only had one home run hit over 470 feet.
Is that true?
That's it.
What a joke.
Yeah, no, Giancarlo Stanton would hit 15 of those bitches, back when he used to do them. Like,
no, you would. You're right.
It's like you didn't have a lot of moonshots. So, I'm not going to say it was boring being in that building. It was kind of cool to like go to that event. But, I will say it's definitely been a reduced event, kind of like the slam dunk contest.
Oh my God, the slam dunk contest is a joke.
It's a joke. I mean, they have like G League players doing it now. Like it's like you can't even get NBA players to do the NBA slam dunk contest. Like, what are we doing, man?
Cole is saying F Coop. I might just ban Cole from the chat.
F Coop?
What the hell?
What are we doing, man? I see Jakari in here. I see Cole. I see Ire. I see Cassie in here. I see nothing. I see Football Pro. I see Alex Manerful. I see Leo Rush. I see Limesy. I see Kingdom.
Alex says, trade a first for Aiyuk because we'll win the Super Bowl and the Niners can just have the 32nd pick.
I mean, that's the best case scenario.
Yeah, that's what you're hoping for.
That's the best case scenario. What if they trade for Aiyuk and Russ stinks? What about that? And you have like the 16th, 17th pick. I'd want that pick.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I would have to think about giving him the first round pick just because I think Aiyuk could be that good for the team. But I'm not sure if I could cross that line because what if Russ and Fields don't prove themselves worthy of being this team's quarterback this year? And you have to look for a quarterback next year. That first round pick could be very big.
Now, here's another question. Would that give you hesitation in trading for Aiyuk because you don't know what your immediate future at quarterback holds?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, what my thinking here is if you trade for Aiyuk and Russ and Fields don't show themselves worthy, you still have that first round pick.
Yep.
Draft a first round quarterback.
Quinn Ewers.
I mean, I don't know who that'd be. I mean, the quarterback class doesn't look great next year. Hopefully some guys can take a step forward and we can have a better quarterback class next year. But like, it sounds like the Steelers want to go all in. And here's the thing, Coop. We know that the Steelers are interested in this guy.
Oh, yeah.
There has been a number of reports from a number of credible reporters saying the Steelers have called the 49ers a number of times. There was a report a couple weeks ago that the Steelers and 49ers had a trade done for a wide receiver before the draft. They didn't get it. It didn't go through because who knows what happened, But, I mean, we know the Steelers want him. The biggest question is, will the 49ers even entertain trading him, which I think that they might, and if they do, what's their asking price?
Nothing says what about Arch Manning. He will not be in the draft next year.
Yeah, Arch won't be available for at least another 2 years. So, I mean, Jake says too much drama and money to make it worth it. I mean, is a Super Bowl worth it for you?
It's worth the drama.
Is a chance at a Super Bowl worth the drama? Because, like, what are the Steelers' chances of winning a Super Bowl if you don't make the trade? That's a good question. I'd put it less than 5%.
Less than 5? If they do make the trade?
And if they make the trade, it goes up a little bit. It goes up, a non-insignificant amount.
Does it go up over 10?
Not over 10.
Not over 10?
It'd be like, because there's 32 teams.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of good teams, right? So, like, saying anybody has an over 10% chance to win a Super Bowl, that's like saying that they're the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was going to say, except for the Chiefs.
The Chiefs probably have like what, like an 18, 19% chance of winning it, because there's so many good teams and it's a one game out playoff, right? It's a single elimination tournament. So like, I feel like it's worth it, man, because Steelers fans put up with the drama of George Pickens, right?
They do.
It's like, are you going to pay him all that money or is he too much drama?
Now I'll say this. They did trade Deontay Johnson pretty quick.
Yes, they did. They did trade Deontay Johnson. That's kind of why we're in this pickle, right?
Yeah.
If you just keep Deontay Johnson, now apparently he was a locker room cancer.
He was.
So like they just felt like they had to be rid of him. And that's fair enough. But I'm just gonna say this right now, man. Like if you just keep Deontay Johnson and then you sign Stephon Gilmore in free agency instead of trading Deontay for Dante
You're
Jackson,
better off.
This team's better.
Yeah.
This team is better if you do that instead of making that. I mean, let's be frank here.
I think they just wanted to get him out of the room.
Yeah, they just wanted Deontay out.
I just wanted him out.
And they like Dante Jackson.
Yep.
And the Carolina Panthers were like, hey, we're probably going to cut him anyways. We'll put him in the deal.
Yeah.
I think that Omar Khan lost that trade, the Deontay Johnson trade.
He probably did.
He lost the trade. He did. Deontay's a way better player overall than Dante. Way more valuable as well. And you pretty much traded him straight up for him. But it sounded like the Steelers were desperate to be rid of him because he wasn't a good influence. And here's the thing with the drama. I think if you pay Aiyuk, the drama goes away. Am I crazy for saying that? I mean, like, has Aiyuk been like a big drama guy before the contract situation? I don't think so.
I don't think he's any more dramatic than any other high-profile receiver is.
Yeah.
They all are a little dramatic.
All of the drama around Aiyuk is that, it was around the contract. So if you trade for him and you give him the contract and you make him a Pittsburgh Steeler for the next 5 seasons, I mean, he's going to be fine. He's going to have fun, especially if the team's winning, right? And we would expect this team to be a winning football team, especially with Aiyuk on the team. It's like, I don't know if I buy the drama argument.
Yeah.
Because, like, I keep hearing Steelers don't need the drama. Well, you know what they do need? They need his talent.
They need another receiver.
They need his ability to get open, right? Because right now there's George Pickens, who's a legit stud wide receiver, and then a bunch of question marks at wide receiver,
no doubt.
right? Like right now, Pat Freiermuth is your number 2 receiver.
Not getting it done.
And like
I like him.
I think it can get it done, but if you interject Brandon Aiyuk into that mix and Muth becomes your 3rd receiver instead of your 2nd, I think that makes this offense immediately better.
Yeah.
Immediately better. I mean, if you can get him for less than a first, that there should be no discussion, man. Make the deal.
Make the deal.
Make the deal. If it's anything less than a first-round pick, I can understand why somebody would say no for a first-round pick, though. I can understand why somebody would say no to that.
On this next segment, we're going to go into roster projection. Do you want to quickly mention something about Aiyuk at the top?
No.
No? Okay.
No. I mean, we'll probably just end up refilming this segment on live later if there's a trade.
Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, folks. Pittsburgh fan 412 says, Jack, you need to hit up Platinum
we already
666. We've already messaged them, man. We already messaged Kurgan and Platinum. I haven't heard back from either.
They might be busy today.
They might be busy. They might be working, right? We did go live a little bit earlier than we usually do because of the breaking news. So, right now I'd say the streak's in jeopardy. But listen, man, I saw I saw Christopher Roy down there. I see Pittsburgh fan 412. I saw Fernando Martin in there earlier. Like, we still have some of our big hitters here.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
So, like, I wouldn't count us out. Okay? I know Fernando's put in $1,000 on a stream before, Coop. So,
yes, he has.
So, like, we've still got some pretty big hitters here without Platinum and without Kurgan Cold. I'm going to send one more message to these guys. All right? If they don't show up, they don't show up. But I'm going to send this message here to Kurgan and to Platinum. Coop, give some shout-outs in the chat before we get to this next segment here.
Yeah, let me get to Ryan's super chat first. He sent in a super chat.
Oh, what's up, Ryan?
Shout out to Ryan.
And he's a first-time super chatter. You guys know what that means. Let's give him some Ric Flair drip. Woo! Says, if the Steelers don't get Aiyuk, do they go after someone like Tyreek Hill? Hill's not going to get traded. He's got multiple years left on his deal. He hasn't demanded or requested a trade. Like, Tyreek Hill is the engine of that Dolphins offense. He's not getting traded. So, interesting idea, Ryan. Tyreek would be obviously an amazing fit with this Steelers offense with Russell Wilson's deep ball. But at the end of the day here, man, I feel like Tyreek's going to be a Dolphin for a very long time. And the Steelers won't have their shot. I think right now, Aiyuk is the only guy the Steelers could really get via trade because, I mean, he's the only guy that has come out and requested one, right? So if you want to trade for a receiver, it's Aiyuk or it's nothing. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
If they wanted Michael Thomas, they would have already signed him. If they wanted anybody else on the free agency market, they would have signed him to this point. We're a week away from training camp, right? So,
all right, well, this brother's getting banned. We'll see you later.
See ya. All right, by the way, we got a Venmo alert here.
Let's go.
Let's go, man.
Let's go.
Let's get to 1,000, baby. Come on. Let's extend the streak.
why are you spamming the chat? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be an idiot.
Yeah. Don't be spamming the chat.
Don't be an idiot.
All right, man. I see Spice Creations says, what drama? Someone asking for their worth isn't drama. I kind of agree with that, Spice. You know, I mean, Brandon is an all-pro receiver, second-team all-pro. He's had that production for 2 straight seasons. He's 26 years old. I mean, like, Amon-Ra St. Brown got $30 million, and the Niners are offering him $4 million less per season. That's kind of, in my opinion, if I was Brandon Aiyuk, I'd be offended by that.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I don't think Brandon Aiyuk is necessarily a super. I would say George Pickens is more of a drama guy than Brandon Aiyuk is.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I mean, like, we've seen George like have hissy fits on the sidelines before, right? Brandon hasn't really done that in his career. Like, it's just this new contract situation where people think that he's a drama guy. And I think once he gets paid, like, we know how hard he works. He lives in the facility. The guy is an incredible talent. I don't think the Steelers will have any issues with Brandon Aiyuk if they trade for him and they pay him. $10 Venmo here from, I think, a first-time Venmoer here, Elliot F. Smith. Let's go. What's up? All right, so Jeremy Chuggs just came in here. Jeremy Chuggs just came in here and said our Browns host, Matthew Peterson, is live right now, and he just told his Browns audience that they're skull-fucking us in the Super Chat and Venmo department.
That's very graphic.
And that is very graphic. But you know what, man? We're sitting at, I believe, $131. So actually, all right. I need to send a couple messages here. I'm going to send one to Kurgan, and I'm going to send one to Platinum, see if we can get something going here. Coop, give some shout-outs in the chat, man.
I will give some shout-outs 1 second.
Right now, the Browns have $500. They've had one $500 Venmo, and that's it. So we need to beat the Browns, all right? F the Browns. So,
Sperry's
Coop, take
gonna
over
send
there.
a couple messages there. Shout out Allison Rooker saying W Coop. W Allison. W Allison. Oh, the Texans signed Quintez Cephas. Adding to their wide receiver room. F the Browns, absolutely. We all hate the Browns. Brock says Steelers to the Super Bowl. That'd be sick. That would be sick. Ryan says, thank you, Jack. Thank you, Ryan. Brandon Aiyuk, could he be a Steeler? He requested a trade from the Niners, in case you missed it earlier. That's why we went live today. Christopher Roy, love you back, brother. Thank you. Love you back. Shout out to Platinum and Kurgan Cold for keeping this streak alive, man.
All right, man. Are we going to see this streak come to an end today? It's definitely possible, man. Here we go. So we got one more segment to get to today. We might do a mailbag as well, if you guys want to do one. We got 236 people still watching, Coop.
Yes,
so
indeed.
If everybody stays in the chat, we'll probably end up doing a mailbag here where you guys can ask questions, and we'll talk about Aiyuk for a little bit longer. But
I'm down.
Coming up here, we've got my official roster projection for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I see DV Productions made it. What's up, DV? Good to see you.
What up, DV?
Nice Tokes is here. John Mitchell, Leo Rush. We got Ray Z. We got Connor. We got Daniel. We got a good crew today, man. We got a lot of people in the chat right now. Make sure you guys send in those Venmos at Jack-Sperry or Super Chat to help us get to our 16th straight live show with at least $1,000 in Super Chat and Venmo revenue. Without Kurgan and without Platinum, man, I mean, we're in danger. We are in danger mode right now of losing the streak. But you know what, man? At the end of the day, what's important is that you guys are here, that we're talking Steelers football. And right now, I got my official roster projection for this football team. Without Brandon Aiyuk, if they end up making a trade, we'll end up adjusting this. But for now, here's my official 2024 Steelers roster projection for your Pittsburgh Steelers. Today on Steelers Talk, I'm giving my official prediction for the Steelers' 53-man roster for Week 1 of the 2024 NFL season. All 53 players, I believe, will be on the active roster when the Steelers line up Week 1 against the Atlanta Falcons there in Atlanta. But before we get going here on today's show, we're almost there, folks. All right, we're just like 50 subscribers away from passing the Chiefs report. So if you can do me a favor right now, click that subscribe button. Help us pass the Chiefs report, move up the power rankings here at Chat Sports. I would greatly appreciate it. New viewers, we're definitely counting on you guys because, the people that are already subscribed can't help us out here. So if this is your first time watching a Steelers Talk video, if this is your second time, whatever the case may be, make sure you click that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate all of your guys' support. We're also going live. Make sure you subscribe to never miss our live shows every single Wednesday and every single Friday. This week here, we're going live Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and then Thursday as well, 2 straight days in a row. Everybody here at Chat Sports is off on Friday, so we're going to be doing our second, or actually third, now with the Brandon Aiyuk stream on Thursday. So make sure you click that subscribe button to never miss a Steelers Talk live show heading into the season. Okay, now, before we get into this roster projection, I want you guys to remember that Cam Sutton, the cornerback here, is going to be suspended for Week 1. So he is not going to be on this roster projection today. He will join the roster Week 9 on the bye week, and then he'll have his first game Week 10 against the Commanders on the road. But for Week 1, he will not be on the roster because he is serving that 8-game suspension. So first up here, let's get into the offense here. And I think that there's a lot of interesting position groups and lots of interesting position battles. So let's start out with the most important position, quarterbacks. And I do think they will carry 3, and they will carry Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and Kyle Allen. Okay? And the reason why I have Kyle Allen, not the undrafted free agent John Rice Plumlee, is because Kyle is actually a pretty decent backup quarterback. He has experience in the National Football League with a bunch of different systems. And he's actually played, not terribly throughout his career. He's not a starter by any means. He's definitely a backup. But as far as third-string quarterbacks go, Kyle Allen is pretty darn good. And while John Rice Plumlee is fun, and, lots of people compare him to Taysom Hill, unless he's really, really special in the preseason, I think he is likely to get cut because, like the gadget player on this offense, they already have one in Justin Fields, right? So if you're going to be doing Taysom Hill stuff, they're going to give that work to Justin Fields. So it doesn't really make sense to carry John Rice Plumlee unless he really balls out and outperforms Kyle Allen in preseason, and I just don't see that happening. So I do think they'll carry Allen, and maybe they'll put Plumlee on the practice squad. So who's going to be your QB3? Let me know. Predict it for me down there in the comments section. Type KA if you think Kyle Allen wins that number 3 quarterback job, or type JP if you think John Rice Plumlee earns that spot on the 53-man roster. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. In just a second, YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. All right, so running backs here, we've got, I got Jaylen Warren, I've got Najee Harris, and I've got Cordero Patterson. Now, Patterson is going to be more of a backup running back / special team specialist, and Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris will be the main guys in the rotation here. They're going to be trading blows, so to speak, and if somebody gets hurt, then they might have some guys on the practice squad that they can elevate in that situation, but I think this team is only going to carry 3 running backs. Then we get to the wide receivers here. George Pickens, Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin III, Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins, and then Scotty Miller. These are the 6 guys that I believe bring the most value. They are the best overall players, and I do think they carry 6 receivers this year. If they trade for Brandon Aiyuk or something like that, obviously the math changes. I would probably say Scotty Miller would be the guy, maybe the odd man out there, but I guess we'll have to see if any of these receivers are included in an Aiyuk trade as well. So as right now, with the way it's currently constructed, this is what I think will be the wide receiver room heading into the year. Then the tight ends here, I think they're actually going to carry 4. This is an offense that's going to use some fullback, and they're going to have 2 and 3 tight end sets. Okay, so Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, Connor Hayward, who I think will get a little bit of work as a fullback this year, as well as at tight end. And then Michael Pruitt. I'm seeing a lot of people project Pruitt as somebody that's going to get cut, but he's one of Arthur Smith's guys, man. He loves Michael Pruitt. He's followed him from Tennessee to Atlanta. And I think that he's going to end up making the final roster because they're going to use a lot of these tight ends on game days this year. The interior of the offensive line, Isaac Seumalo, James Daniels, and Zach Frazier, I expect to be the starting three interior guys, and then Mason McCormick and Nate Herbig will be your backups on the interior. Then at offensive tackle, I think they carry four: Broderick Jones, Troy Fautano, Dan Moore Jr., and Dylan Cook. Now, it's going to be interesting to see who's the starting right tackle between Fautano and Dan Moore Jr. Cook will be somebody that can play either tackle or guard. He's going to be a little bit of depth in that way, but he's going to be one of the last people to make the final 53. Now, coming up here on Steelers Talk, the defensive roster, led, of course, by defensive coordinator Teryl Austin. But before we get into that, man, I can't wait to get to Latrobe with Cassie, watching some Steelers football live with you guys. So make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you are pumped for Steelers training camp this season. Edge rushers here. I think they carry four: TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, and David Perales, who they brought in last year. He was a practice squad player. He's had a pretty decent spring. And because the Steelers haven't brought in that fourth kind of edge rusher type in free agency, I think they believe in Perales to get this job done and be that fourth edge rusher this year. This is one of the best edge rusher rooms in football, especially at the top three. Then the starting defensive tackles, I think Cam Hayward will be the starting 3 technique. Keanu Benson will be the starting nose tackle over the football. And then we get Larry Ogunjobi, who'll be playing that 3-4 defensive end position. The 5 technique in this 3-4 system that Teryl Austin and Mike Tomlin run. Then the depth defensive tackles here, Montravius Adams is the backup nose tackle. Isaiah Loudermilk, I think, will be kind of playing that Armin Watts type of role at backup 3 technique. And then Dean Lowry and then rookie Logan Lee will round out the rest of that position. Then we get to the inside linebackers. I think Patrick Queen and Landon Roberts will get a majority of the work. Peyton Wilson, the rookie out of NC State, will come in as kind of a coverage linebacker on obvious passing situations. Plus, you can give Landon Roberts a little bit of a breather from time to time. And then Cole Holcomb, I think, he's going to get on the field. Once he gets back healthy, he's going to have his opportunity. But I do think he makes the roster, but I think he's going to be more of a rotational piece, especially if Peyton Wilson continues to play as well as he has been playing. Then the cornerback room, I have them carrying 6: Joey Porter Jr., Dante Jackson, Graylin Arnold, who can play either slot corner or safety, Beanie Bishop Jr., the undrafted free agent out of West Virginia. He's been impressive. And then Darius Rush and Corey Trice Jr., I have them both making the final 53. Then at safety, Minka Fitzpatrick, Deshaun Elliott, DeMonte KZ, and then the special teams specialist and team captain, Miles Killebrew. Again, Graylin Arnold, if needed, can play safety. So that's kind of a nice dual role for him in this defense. Then on special teams, Chris Boswell, Cameron Johnston, the new punter, and then Christian Kuntz, of course, the long snapper, round out the rest of the roster. So in terms of the guys that I think are going to get waived, but I think are going to be practice squad priorities for the Steelers this season, Spencer Anderson, draft pick last year. I think that the depth speaks for itself on this offensive line. Not sure how much room there is for him anymore. John Rice Plumlee at quarterback, if they can keep him and try to see if he can develop on the P squad, I think they'd like to do that. Des Fitzpatrick has been a P squad guy before on this team. Marquez Callaway can certainly provide some value on the P squad as somebody with experience. Dajan Edwards, the undrafted free agent out of Georgia, he's probably the guy I would want to step in for either Najee Harris or Jaylen Warren if they end up getting hurt. Rodney Williams was a P squad guy last year. I think he lands on there again this year. Steelers like him a lot. Then on defense, DeMarvin Leal. Let's face it, man, this is a big training camp for him. I mean, he's at the point in his career where he can't bank on his potential anymore. He's got to show something. If he doesn't, he's going to end up being waived in favor of guys like Dean Lowry and Logan Lee. Brandon Fajoku, the nose tackle, I like him a lot. I like his energy. I like his tenacity. I love him on the pre-squad again. Mark Robinson, let's face it, he's undersized. When he's had opportunities to play, he's been bullied out on the field, especially in the run game. Jalen Elliott, a guy with a little bit of experience I'd like on the P-squad at safety. Ryan Watts, I think, needs to develop a little bit. I think his time may come, but I think they might put him on the P-squad. He'll be one of the first people off the roster. And then Josiah Scott, he got most of the first-team reps at slot corner during OTAs, but honestly, I think Graylin Arnold and Beanie Bishop Jr. are better players. And I think they'll show that during the training camp and preseason periods. And I think Scott will be the odd man out. So let me know down there in the comments section, who is going to be a surprise Steelers player that gets cut this year or waived, right? Let me know down there in the comments section. Is it DeMarvin Leal? Is it John Rice Plumlee? Is it somebody else? Let me know down there in the comments section which surprise Steelers player won't make the final 53. That'll be it for today's edition of Steelers Talk, guys. We got more Steelers coverage coming your way as we approach Steelers training camp. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now because we're going to be going live for every single preseason game, every single regular season game, every single postseason game. We got daily coverage here for free on the channel. So if you love the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is the place for you. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now. All right, Coop. Resex Dreams is asking the running backs. We actually, I guess we didn't get the running back graphic.
Yeah, I guess not.
So I verbalized it, guys. Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, Cordell Patterson.
And you think Jalen's going to be number one?
I think Jalen's going to be the number one guy. Now, they might start the year giving more carries than Najee.
Yeah.
But I think by week 3, 4, 5, it's going to be pretty clear that Jalen's the better running back on the team. He was better than him last year, more efficient, more explosive. He makes more people miss. He's better after contact, which is crazy, than Najee is. So I think Jalen Warren is a budding superstar in this league at running back, and Najee is a good back. I mean, I don't say any of that to say Najee sucks or that he stinks or that the team should get rid of him or any of that. I was in favor of them paying him his fifth-year option because I wanted to keep Warren and Najee together for another 2 years.
Yeah.
But like, if you're only going to pay one back, I'm paying the guy that breaks tackles, that is really hard to bring down. To me, Jalen Warren is really, really impressive. And I can't wait to see the faces of the people in the league that have completely discounted him heading into the year, because nobody is talking about Jalen Warren, Coop.
No, absolutely. I think he's one of the more underrated players. He led all Steelers offense in points above replacement last year, right?
Yeah,
he was the number one player.
Yep. He had 19.1, and Deontay was second with 19. And by the way, the Steelers traded their second most valuable player on offense last year, sabermetrically, for a corner that the Panthers were probably going to cut anyway. Now, and that's not to say that I hate Dante. I like Dante Jackson.
Exactly.
I think he's a good fit, but like, is he equal value to Deontay Johnson?
Not quite.
As a player, definitely not, but it definitely sounded like the Steelers wanted Deontay's presence out of the locker room.
No doubt.
All right, man. It's going to be interesting, man. So we still got 265 people watching. So if you guys got questions, get them down in the chat right now. We'll talk some Steelers here. We got John Mitchell in the chat. We got Edward. We got Ryan. We got Pittsburgh Fan 412. We got Spice Creations. Spice Creation says, I think the edge they got from Baltimore will get the fourth edge position. He might. I think that's an interesting position battle, Coop. Jeremiah Moon is the guy they brought in from Baltimore. He's a decent player. He's an athletic freak. And he's going to be battling out pretty much with David Perales if they don't add another edge rusher for that final edge rusher spot. And it could be Jeremiah Moon. Like, Spice, I agree with you that I think it could be Moon. I actually had a tough time deciding between who I was going to keep on the roster there. But I think that with Perales, I think that they like him just a little bit more. Could be wrong. Could go either way, but I guess we'll have to see what happens. The Jerk Is Mine is here. What's up, The Jerk Is Mine?
Shout out.
We got Michael. We got Christopher Roy. Christopher Roy says Anthony Averett's going to be a project practice squad player. He might be.
Could be.
He's not young anymore, though. So I don't know how old you can be and still be a project, right? So I think he's an interesting player. I think he brings some experience, a little bit of insurance in case Corey Trice Jr. or Darius Rush, isn't up to snuff. But I think they'll both play fine this preseason. Got Ryan says, if the Niners wanted Pickens back in the Aiyuk trade, would you give him up? Now that's an interesting idea, Coop. Every fiber in my being says no. Because, here's the thing. If you give up Pickens, you're in the same spot, man. Oh.
What do we got there?
Got a little Paul Skeens jersey right here.
Oh, let's go!
Paul Skeens jersey just arrived. For my friend Pittsburgh Fan 412, I believe Pittsburgh Fan 412 gave it to his son, so we'll end up signing this and make this sent his way.
The best pitcher in baseball.
Christopher Roy says they have Pearsall. Here's the thing with the Pearsall situation, Coop. I think that with Pearsall, he's the future at Brandon Aiyuk's position.
Absolutely.
Okay, like next year, 2025, that's probably when Pearsall takes over. But he's a rookie. And for a team like the Niners that are really, really, really trying to win a Super Bowl this year, to put this important role in their offense in the hands of somebody that hasn't played a single down in the National Football League, I think that's a risk. And that's why the 49ers don't want to trade Aiyuk. And that's why they've been public about that. They don't want to trade him because they don't trust Ricky Pearsall in year one to take on that role. In year two, they probably will. And they'll let Aiyuk go.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I think the whole report was Aiyuk says either pay me or trade me. And then they're like, well, we're not doing either of those. So I think they're in a stalemate.
Yeah. All right, man. So still 274 people watching. 214 people have liked the show. Should we do a mailbag?
Up to you. When would it go? And what would it be about?
I mean, it'd just be about just anything. I'd probably, if we do a mailbag, I'll probably just push it tomorrow morning before live.
I guess.
Roster projection Thursday before live.
Yeah.
Just double up.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. All right, that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
We're going to do a mailbag here. So if you got questions, you want to get on the show, we got 276 people watching. Hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get on the show here. So make sure you guys get those questions in. We got Ryan in the chat. We got Wildcard Phoenix. We got Rodney. We got Snack. We got DV. Oh, no way! Oh, we're cooking now.
We're cooking with gas.
We're cooking now. This is a first-time Super Chatter, I think. I mean, it's not saying it's a first-time Super Chatter, but I don't remember him. But no matter what it is, I freaking like it, man. Because this one's rolling in from Ron Navy. Bang! Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Run, Navy. Let's go, man. Ron Navy coming in with a $100 Super Chat.
Let's go.
And by the way, I mean, if we want to get to that $1,000 mark today and we want to make it 16 straight, Ron, I'm just going to throw this out there. $500 on the show total, and you get to join Steelers Talk Black Diamond Club and become a Steelers Talk legend for life. Okay, so what you get is you get a customized jersey, Steelers jersey. We put your name on it. We get a retired number, and we give you a customized Super Chat sticker for life. All right, so if you want to become a Steelers Talk legend today, Ron, and you want to help us get to our 16th straight live show with at least $1,000, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen today, Ron. And can we show my Venmo real quick here?
Read a Super Chat first.
Oh, Super Chat. It says, Steelers were smart not to pick up fifth-year option on Najee. Now Najee will be motivated this year to smash it. Don't agree with that, Ron. I don't disagree with that, Ron. Definitely. Najee's definitely going to be motivated to make as much money as he possibly can, because after this year, he's going to be making his second contract, and that's probably going to be about it for his career, right, in terms of making big money. So if Najee wants to make those big bucks as a running back, this is going to be a big year to do that. Okay, so here's the Venmo, guys, at Jack Sperry. Appreciate you guys. We do prefer Venmo over Super Chats because we get to keep more of the proceeds. YouTube takes a cut, a very big cut, 30% cut of every single dollar that you spend on Super Chat. But with Venmo, we get to keep more of that money to give you guys more Steelers content here on YouTube for free. Disregard the 50-50 raffle, guys, all right?
That's not real.
That's not what we made this graphic back when we did 50-50 raffles.
Just for the QR code.
It's just for the QR code, all right? So just so you know, no 50-50 raffle on the show. But we really do appreciate everybody that sends in those Venmos. Pittsburgh Fan 412 sent one in earlier, $100 Venmo. That is the biggest one of the day to this point. And right now, Coop, we're sitting at how much total? We are sitting at $231 total. So we're going to be getting to a mailbag here. Make sure you guys use hashtag Steelers to get your questions on the show. And make sure we get these Venmos in, man. Ron, if you want to become a Steelers Talk Black Diamond member, $400 away. That would go a long, long way to getting us to our goal of $1,000 today. So that would be great. Ron Navy says, shout out to all my military brothers and sisters in here. Ron, thank you for your service, my friend. One of our biggest supporters here, Anthony Fuller, he's also an active service member. King Yinzer himself, he's a Black Diamond member. So shout out to everybody in the chat that has served our country faithfully, including Ron Navy. Let's give it up for Ron Navy here, folks. Everybody spam Ron in the chat. Everybody spam those Rons in the chat. Thank Ron for his service. I appreciate you, my friend. And let's get this thing rolling. Let's get this thing rolling here on Steelers Talk. Let's go. Okay, so how many questions have we got?
We got a good amount.
We have a good amount?
Good amount.
Like enough for a full mailbag?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get into this mailbag here. Make sure you get those Super Chats and those Venmos in if you haven't already. Help us try to get to $1,000 today if you haven't already.
Keep
again,
asking your questions.
And make sure you guys get those questions in. Even when I'm talking, even when we're in the middle of the mailbag, you guys can still get in the chat. Use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get on the show.
Allison, ask that same question and then put hashtag Steelers on the end of it, and we'll be sure to get you on.
Allison, ask that same question you just asked and put hashtag Steelers on either in the front or the back of it. Because that's a good question, Allison. I want to answer that one. Okay, so we got a good amount of questions coming in here.
Yes,
let's get into this mailbag right now, man. I love these segments because I get to talk to you guys directly, get to talk about the questions and what's on your mind as opposed to me just guessing. So let's get into it right now, man. Latest Steelers news and rumors. Not news and rumors. This mailbag is coming at you right now. Welcome in to the first Steelers Talk mailbag of the week. We are currently filming this during our breaking news live show for Brandon Aiyuk requesting a trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So this one's probably going to have a lot of Brandon Aiyuk questions in it. So just so you guys know, this was filmed on Tuesday. So if any of the questions or answers are out of date, that would be why. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now for more Steelers Talk mailbags and videos every single day. Then we got one from $100 Super Chat here from my man and newest Gold Club member, Ron Navy. Salute to your service there, man. Really do appreciate you, Ron. Says Steelers were smart not to pick up fifth-year option on Najee. Now he will be motivated this year to smash it. I agree. I do. With Najee, he's heading into the final year of his contract because they didn't pick up that fifth year. And Najee knows because just with recent history with running backs, the second contract is where they make pretty much all of their money, if they make any at all. So Najee really has to turn it up if he wants to make those big bucks this year. And that motivation hopefully will lead to a really great season from Double Deuce. I agree with Ron here that turning down the fifth-year option should mean a very motivated Najee Harris. Then we got one from Young Noticeable here. It says, do you think it's Super Bowl or bust this year? No, I don't. I don't think it's Super Bowl or bust. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how you frame the question. I think that the Steelers are framing this season as we're going for it. We're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. If we don't win it, then it's an unsuccessful season. But listen, man, if Russell Wilson comes in, wins 13 games, wins a playoff game, and they're competitive in a second playoff game this year, and they show that they can really hang with the big boys in this league, like, I feel like that's a successful season. Okay, so I don't necessarily think it's Super Bowl or bust, but I think the Steelers feel that it is, and I think that's the right mentality to have. Now, let me know down there in the comments section, is this year Super Bowl or bust for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Simply give me a yes or a no for today's pinned question. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds, and when that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or a no down there in the comments. We got one from Omar's Burner here, who says, trade a conditional second that moves to a first based on playing time and the extra sixth in 2025. Here's the thing: if Brandon is traded here, he's gonna play the amount of playing time. So essentially, you're trading a first in that scenario, Omar. So it's an interesting idea. But really, those conditions are only for players that like may or may not play that many snaps, and Aiyuk's going to play that many snaps, right? So I don't hate a second-round pick and a sixth-round pick if the Niners would do that. But honestly, I don't think that this is anything that we could see happen. Then we go on from Edward Mask. What's up, Edward? It says Steelers should the Steelers sign Jeffrey Simmons, release Justin. I don't know why I said Jeffrey. Justin Simmons, release DeMonte KZ, and also go after Gilmore at cornerback. Imagine the Steelers' defense with these additions. So what I'll say about Justin Simmons is that I don't think he wants to come to the Steelers because Justin Simmons is a free safety. Steelers have already said they want to play Minkah at free safety this year because that's his best position. They got Deshaun Elliott to play that strong safety role, and DeMonte KZ currently holds that rotational spot. So essentially, if you bring Justin Simmons into the fold, Simmons is going to be a rotational safety, and that's not something he's interested in. He wants to go to a team where he's going to be playing on every down. Likely wouldn't be the case here with the Steelers. And then he wants a team that's going to compete, and I think that there's other teams that need safety that might be slightly more competitive than the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. When it comes to Stephon Gilmore, I'm on. Here's the thing, man. They like Dante Jackson. They like Dante Jackson and Joey Porter Jr. Stephon hasn't had a ton of experience in the slot. I mean, I don't think he'd want to play in the slot either. He's an outside corner. So even though I like the names, talented players, just not sure if either player is interested in being a Pittsburgh Steeler. But good ideas here, Edward. Got one from DV Productions. Says, do you think we are better than the Bengals if we got Aiyuk or even Tyler Lockett? I mean, I wouldn't say it's impossible that we're better than the Bengals without these guys. I think that the defense is going to be awesome. I think the run game is going to be the main engine of the offense. You hope that somebody between Roman Wilson, Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins, Scotty Miller, one of those guys is going to step up for you. Pat Freiermuth looks like he's going to have a massive season. And the Bengals defense, they lost some big pieces this offseason. So it's going to be interesting to see how things shake out in this division. But I would say yes, if you get Brandon Aiyuk, you have a better roster than the Cincinnati Bengals. Then we get to Christopher Roy, one of our Black Diamonds here. He says there's still some big free agent cornerbacks and safeties out there. I'm all for boosting the secondary. Who would you sign out of the remaining? This is going to be maybe a controversial decision, but I would say Patrick Peterson. He played really good in the slot and at safety last year when asked to play those positions. Patrick Peterson was bad on the outside. Like when he was asked to play outside corner, he showed he didn't have the speed and the quickness to do that anymore. But he played with really good instincts when he was asked to play in the middle of the defense. And I think that with Cam Sutton out for 8 weeks, Patrick Peterson, experienced, could be a great mentor to the young guys on the outside. And he can play a really good slot corner for the first 8 weeks. So you can get him for the vet minimum. I don't think guys like Xavier Howard and Stephon Gilmore want to play in the slot. I think Patrick Peterson would. Justin Simmons doesn't want to play a rotational role, so he won't be coming here. So I have the guys that are gettable for the Steelers. I would pick Patrick Peterson. Now shout out your guy down there in the comments section. Name a free agent the Steelers should sign down there in the comments section. It can be in the secondary. It can be any other position. Name a free agent that you want the Steelers to sign heading into camp. We got one from Christian Andujar. What's up, Christian? Says, okay, let's say we get Brandon Aiyuk. How are the Steelers going to afford him? Like, whose contracts do they got to restructure to make it work? So here's the thing, Christian. If they sign Brandon Aiyuk, it's going to be an extension, which means that his contract figure won't kick in until the 2025 season. So right now, I believe Aiyuk's cap figure is $14 million for this year. Steelers have enough to pay that this year. They'd be cutting it close to the cap limit, but they can afford a Brandon Aiyuk for this season. Plus, if they trade away a receiver like Calvin Austin III, obviously that cap gets taken off as well. So you can afford Aiyuk this season. The next season, you have a lot of free agents. You have over $70 million in cap space next year because Cam Hayward's a free agent, right? Cole Holcomb, Landon Roberts. A lot of these guys are free agents next year. So you can afford Brandon Aiyuk. This season and in seasons future, you'd probably be able to bring less players back next offseason if you sign him, but you can afford to bring in Aiyuk this year. Then we got one from Allison who says, hashtag Steelers, what is the percent chance Fields start week 1? I'll put it at a 5% chance. And that 5% chance is if Russell Wilson gets hurt in Latrobe. I think, or he just straight up sucks, which I think is very unlikely. Russ had a really good OTA portion. Everybody on the ground there in Pittsburgh is saying it's Russell Wilson's job to lose, and I don't see Russ losing it. I don't. I think that he's a good quarterback in this system. I think he's going to have a really good season. And honestly, Fields is the one that has been struggling more to this point. Accuracy, getting through his progressions. Russ looks like a pro, looks like a leader, looks like a franchise quarterback. Fields at times, you can tell he's still learning the offense. Accuracy is a bit off, missing some reads. So those are things that I think probably lend itself to maybe a 5% chance Fields is the starting QB week 1. Then we go on from Atticus, who says, what are the chances as of right now that Najee signs another contract with the Steelers? From a percentage standpoint, 20%. I mean, I think what needs to happen is he needs to prove unequivocally that he is better than Jaylen Warren. And I'm not sure if that's going to happen, man. It's going to be interesting to see how the dynamic works this year. We'll know more about it based on how these two men play this season. Because they're only going to pay one of them, it looks like. So, Najee's going to have to straight up perform better than Jaylen Warren, who, in my opinion, is one of the best running backs in football. So, it's going to be interesting. Then we go on from Evan Klar, who says, if you could sign a non-wide receiver or cornerback, who would it be? So, non-wide receiver or cornerback, I mean, Donovan Smith, the offensive tackle. I mean, it sounds like Dan Moore Jr. might be a Kevin Dotson situation where if he's not going to be the starting left tackle, I'm not sure if he wants to play right tackle. So if that's the case, you can get Donovan Smith to be a really, really good swing tackle. He's been the starting left tackle on 2 Super Bowl teams in the last 4 years. He's had kind of dipping production the last few years, but, he's your swing tackle this year if you make that happen. So I like Donovan Smith. If we're not going to get a receiver or a corner, that's probably who I'd pick. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button. Appreciate everybody that's watching here on this Brandon Aiyuk breaking news edition of Steelers Talk Live. We're going to be going live on Wednesday and Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to get a question on a future edition of the Steelers Talk Mailbag, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. All right, man. So we still got 227 people in the chat. John Mitchell says, Jack and Coop got to go. Appreciate what you guys do. John.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for sticking with us here. Christopher, we got Christopher Roy in here. L.A. Rad Swag. Robert Maxwell. Rad Swag. I haven't seen Rad Swag in here in a little bit. What's up, my man?
What up, Rad Swag?
Got David Bowers in here.
Sperry 24-hour live if we get Aiyuk. Maybe not, but I'm not saying no.
I mean, we would have to think about it. At least 12 hours. We might go live for 12. If they trade for Aiyuk, dude, that is like the biggest news story I will ever cover on this team. We might go live for 24 straight hours if we'll go live for probably at least 12. Or you know what? Aiyuk is what, number 11?
Yeah.
We'll go live for 11 hours.
Does anyone wear 11 right now for the Steelers? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Calvin's 19. Van Jefferson?
Does Van wear that?
He might.
Let me see.
David Bowers says, when does training camp start? The 26th, the guys report to training camp.
Van Jefferson is number 11. But if they get Brandon Aiyuk, it wouldn't shock me if they're like, Van, you're not number 11.
Van, you're not selling jerseys.
Take that thing off,
we'll
man.
See ya.
What did Aiyuk wear in college? Did he wear number 1?
Let me look.
I mean, I know the Steelers are like very adamant that they didn't even get Justin Fields.
Yeah, no one wears number 1, right?
But would they give up number 1 for Aiyuk?
He wore 2 at Arizona State.
Yeah, they're not making Fields get rid of number 2.
They're not.
So I don't know. I don't even know what. My best guess is they would have Van Jefferson.
Van Jefferson would switch.
Yeah, that's probably my best guess there. But the more I think about this coup, the more I think that maybe it won't be the Steelers, but the more I think the Niners are going to trade him.
Really?
The more I think about it, the more I think they're going to trade him because they don't want to pay him. Like they just don't have the funds.
Yeah.
No,
they really don't.
They know that they have Brandon Aiyuk's or Brock Purdy's contract coming up, and that's going to be over 50. That's probably going to be 55 or more million per year.
Yeah, he's going to get the bag.
So and they feel like Ricky Pearsall can replace Brandon Aiyuk's role in this system. It's obvious to me.
They think it's next man up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's obvious to me what the Niners are trying to do.
They're
trying to keep Aiyuk for one more season and then replace him with Ricky next year.
They're basically saying, Aiyuk, we like you, we don't love you.
Well, they're pretty much saying we like you. Well, they might even kind of love him. They're like, what they're saying is, with Aiyuk, that gives us a better chance to win a Super Bowl this year, but getting rid of him and putting in Pearsall allows us to keep the thing going, but we get rid of Aiyuk in the process. I don't think that they fully trust Pearsall to play year 1, but if Aiyuk is saying, I'm not playing this year unless you trade me or pay me, I think if the 49ers, feet to the fire, had to choose between the two, they're picking a trade.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
I mean, I think that the Niners would be fine paying him $26 million, but not 30.
It's a big difference.
And Aiyuk is steadfast. He is saying, this is where I'm at. Pay me my number or trade me. And now he has officially requested a trade. $5 super chat here from Mr. Omar's Burner.
He says, 24-hour live stream Sperry. Come on. Let's break the all-time record. Platinum 666. Kurgan Cold, 412, Anthony Fuller, Kareem, and more. Let's do it once Aiyuk gets here. Omar, are you camped out at his house or what?
I mean, here's the thing, man. I think we'll go live for 11 hours.
11?
I think that's the number. The longest ever live stream in Chat Sports history was when the Raiders fired Josh McDaniels.
They did 26 hours.
And they did 26 hours.
We probably aren't doing that.
We're probably not going to be doing that, man. But here's the thing. I think if you give us 11 hours with Kurgan and Platinum and Pittsburgh Fan 412 and all of our big spenders, we're breaking the record.
Oh, yeah.
That's not even a question to me. I bet we break the record within the first half of that show.
That would be wild.
And you know what, man? I'm not even going to count today because this was kind of an impromptu live show. I'm not even going to count this in terms of the 1,000 streak.
I don't count it either.
Like tomorrow,
we make the executive decision here.
Because let's face it, this is a breaking news style live show. People, have work, they have lives, so it's not like people really had a fair chance here. So I think that tomorrow we're going to be trying to extending it to 16 straight live shows. I think the way we'll phrase it is regularly scheduled live shows.
The bosses may disagree, but we'll say, F you, it's our show. We do what we want.
All right, so hopefully we see Platinum tomorrow. Hopefully we see Kurgan down there. Still got 226 people watching. This is why Steelers Talk
is
the best damn community here at Chat Sports, man, because, I mean, what I really appreciate about this group right here is that this group cares about football more than any other fan base in the league.
It's about winning.
I mean, people really care about winning here. People really care about making the right decisions. They care about passionately.
Nothing crazy. It's about Devontae.
Okay. I just saw an Adam Schefter report on Devontae come out. I was like, are we about to go live for Devontae Adams to the Steelers? But it's been a good one, man. Tomorrow, we're going to be going live, regularly scheduled live show, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, this is your opportunity to do so. We got Pat Lepla in the chat. We got Hot Rod 24 coming in last minute here. What's up, Hot Rod? And tomorrow, I think I'm going to have a more concrete vision for what I think is going to happen here with Brandon, because I got some thinking to do in terms of what I think is going to happen. $5 super chat here from my man Ryan Kainz. What's up, Ryan? Says, does trading for Aiyuk make the Steelers a possible number 1 seed? Here we go. Yeah. Yes. I think so, man.
No, I actually think they would.
I actually think that they could. Like, it's not out of the question that they are the number 1 seed if they have Brandon Aiyuk on the team. I will say they probably won't be the number 1 seed without him, but with him, they have a shot. Because, like, if Russell Wilson's good and you have the defense that the Steelers have, the run game that they're going to have, an offensive coordinator that we hope, and I definitely think knows what he's doing in Arthur Smith, 2 great receivers in Aiyuk and Pickens, and Russell Wilson is really good, like, that might be the best roster in football.
What do you think you have to get for the 1 seed? 14?
13 or 14.
I think KC went 14-3 last year.
Yeah, 13 or 14. Well, KC wasn't the number 1 seed. Baltimore was.
Baltimore was, yeah, that's right.
Kansas City honestly didn't have the best regular season last year.
But it didn't matter.
Like if you actually look at Patrick Mahomes' stats last year, he was not the best quarterback in the game last year.
Which is wild.
He had an incredible postseason, which is why he is unquestionably the best quarterback in football, because it's about being able to produce in those moments.
No question.
Nobody does it better than Mahomes. But like just in terms of the regular season, I mean, like I was going through my numbers here the other day. It's like Patrick Mahomes didn't have a great regular season. But you know, he was still really good, don't get me wrong, but like there were other players that were more valuable than him. But then of course when the playoffs come,
there's nobody in the world.
There's nobody on the planet that's better than Patrick Mahomes, and we all know that. All right, man. So it's 3:00. We've been live for about an hour and a half here. We've gotten through 3 segments. You guys have been fantastic. I think we're going to say goodbye for the day here.
Let's do it.
We're going to be back tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you click that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on your notifications. And tomorrow, we're going to try to make it 16 straight regularly scheduled live shows with $1,000 in Super Chat and Venmo revenue. So make sure you guys are ready for that. It's going to be a party. So make sure click that subscribe button.
Later, guys.